The main character of The Legend of Zelda, Link, yep, makes sense, is somebody who is packed with mysteries around him. The adventures are always told with the hero being at least a young child, if not older towards his adulthood. We never see him growing up, never much of his upbringing. We know next to nothing regarding his life before meeting him. Only on a few occasions do we learn small pieces of history, such as in Ocarina of Time when we learn that his unnamed mother left him in the hands of the Kokiri to stop him being caught up in the dangers of the land at that time. Outside of this, we know next to nothing. In a way, it really fits his silent personality. It almost fit. I don't know how to describe that, but it does. But it also begs the question of, who was his family? Who raised this courageous young lad? Now, fun behind the scenes facts for this video. It originally started with me writing about the question of Link's parents in Skyward Sword, the first game in the timeline, but I began to realise during the research process of that video that there is actually a lot more to discuss regarding Link's family across the series as a whole. One thing led to another, and that video became this video. The mysterious history of Link's family. His parents, siblings, uncles, and aunts, and even grandparents. I want to explore this mysterious area of the hero's life, and try to not only uncover some mysteries, but also bring some more awareness to the hero's family history, as I'm aware not everybody knows about this. Oh, and a quick bit of a fun story about this video. I'm actually recording this a bit in advance, as I am travelling to Germany tomorrow at the time of recording to be with my partner. The Game of the Year awards happen to take place during this visit. Now, this video will be uploaded after all of that, so if we did get any news on the sequel to Breath of the Wild and you're wondering where my videos are at, this is why. And if there was news, expect videos real soon. I'll have been working on them in Germany. If there was no news, then I'm out of a job. Just kidding. Anyway, my situation aside, without further ado, be sure to go and grab yourself a snack or drink and send them in to get featured right here. Drop a like and subscribe if you haven't already, it really helps the channel out, and let's get into this one. To begin, let's go over the known history of Link's family to give us a basis and so that we all know. Then we'll swiftly move on to the mysterious unknowns of his family and even some theories. But one thing to make clear now, we will not be including the mangas. They are super interesting and really cool, but aren't canon to the video game series. Maybe I'll make videos on them in the future if you're interested, but today they aren't included. So following the timeline in chronological order, we'll start at the Minish Cap, the first game in which we see a family member of Link's, his grandfather. He goes by the name Smith, and is also a blacksmith, even creating the Smith sword for the winner of the sword fighting tournament. He doesn't play much of a role after the opening of the game in which he sends Link to deliver the blade, but if Link ever returns home and talks to him, Smith can give Link advice on what to do next in the game. Moving down the timeline to our next game sees us at Ocarina of Time. We don't visually see a family member here, but around halfway through the game, we are told a little story of Link's mother by the Deku Tree Sprout. They explain how Link's mother left the young infant hero to be in the hands of the Kokiri in Great Deku Tree, and why he was left there. His mother was badly injured due to the war, and had no other choice but to leave Link here for his own safety. The Great Deku Tree accepted Link as he could see that this was the child of destiny. Otherwise, Link would have likely been denied entry. We knew he grew up here as the only non-Kokiri, hence why he can grow older, but the Kokiri children remain the same if they stay in their home woodlands. The Sprout says, after the mother passed away, presumably due to the mentioned injuries, and that's all we hear. Moving further down the timeline to the splits, from left split to right, we move on to A Link to the Past. In this adventure, we meet Link's uncle, interestingly in a similar way to his grandfather in the Minish Cap, at the very beginning of the game, and knowing that they lived together, near the castle. But in A Link to the Past, Link sets off to the castle after hearing his uncle in a kind of telepathic message, only to find him badly injured inside the castle. His uncle soon after passes away, and Link's adventure really kicks on from here. That is the short piece of family given to us in this adventure. We then move to A Link Between Worlds, the spiritual successor to A Link to the Past. In this game, we meet a suspected family member, Gramps. It is never outright said if this is a relative of Link, but there are so many indications towards him being Link's grandfather, a former hero himself. The issue is, how could there be two at once? It's another discussion for another video. In fact, fellow creator Zelda has a fantastic video on Gramps, go check it out afterwards. Next, we move on to Twilight Princess. In this game, we meet Link's ancestor, the hero Shade. This is actually the same Link from Ocarina of Time, a game that took place around 100 years prior, so this is probably Link's great-grandfather. The Shade acts as a reoccurring mentor throughout the game, who teaches the current Link new sword skills to use in combat, which is a really cool concept to include a family member. Our next meeting takes us to the last timeline split, the Wind Waker. This is the game with the most family inclusion in Link's life, We meet his grandmother and younger sister, Ariel. Ariel? I don't know how you say that. Ariel. I'm just gonna say Ariel. They live as a happy free on Outset Island. Well, it is until Ariel is kidnapped and Link sets out to sea to find her, leaving his sad grandmother at home. I could go further into this, but that would essentially be explaining over half of the game. Go watch a Let's Play for that. Something cool to know about his family here is that this game takes place in the timeline where no hero was present. This Link is technically not the chosen hero, so to say. He just kinda took the role of a hero, but funny enough, his grandmother has a green tunic and shield for him. It is tradition on their island for young boys to receive a green tunic upon growing of a certain age, a callback to the past hero who never showed. So this is Link's known family in the main timeline. However, we have one more game to touch on, Breath of the Wild. In the game itself, we see no family, nor in memories. However, there is a mention of Link's father in the Shelter from the Storm memory. Princess Zelda mentions how Link has strong similarities to his father, who was also a knight. At this moment in time, Link's father was likely still alive. We aren't 100% sure, but I'd say it is likely. This is before the calamity hit. On top of this mention, in the Japanese version of Creating a Champion, Masterworks, we can find artwork of a family photo. Link, his father, and his sister. This kinda unofficially confirms that he did in fact have a father and sister. At least 100% a father was present growing up. No mother though. That is all of Link's known family across the series, from solid close members to distant and or far relative members. This is what we know, but there are of course many gaps within this, so with that covered, let's finally get into the unknowns and some theories regarding them. Okay, so the most obvious figures that hold mystery here is Link's mother and father. I'm not going to delve into every game and ask where his siblings, uncles and aunts, etc. are. I just felt it was more important to mention the ones we know of, so that everybody knows his current family history. There simply isn't enough to answer if he even does or doesn't, never mind where they are. We're focusing on his parents now. As mentioned during the intro, it is always his upbringings that is a huge mystery. So why are Link's parents always a mystery? The basic answer to this is to avoid drawing too much attention away from the opening segments of the games. The first hour or so in Zelda games tends to serve as a tutorial to the game, learning the controls, mechanics and so on. Having a focus on story points here would interrupt that. That's the basic answer, but it doesn't answer the question in terms of the actual lore of the games. With lore in mind, there are many potential answers. Now I say potential because we obviously cannot say for sure, but we can make guesses, which is why I haven't titled this video as a theory, it's just a video discussing this. I myself have two ideas of my own. 1. Due to the forever reincarnation cycle placed by Demise all those years ago, whenever a new hero is born into the world, the mother passes on soon after, as in the view of the reincarnation cycle, they are no longer required. As horrible as that sounds, it is somewhat possible. This curse does come from Demise after all, evil itself, and with the forever plagued evil on Hyrule comes a reincarnation of the hero and blood of the goddess. We know the blood of the goddess follows for the royal family, the evil comes from Demise's curse. Where does the hero come from? This goes on time and time again, and perhaps the reason Link never ever has a mention of a mother, other than Ocarina of Time, which we'll get to shortly, could explain this. He does sometimes have a father or father figure in life. This could be because his mother passes on soon after birth. The only issue with that idea is that we are told of his mother in Ocarina of Time, but this kinda leads me to my next idea. But before I get to that, I just want to say his mother in Ocarina of Time could have adopted him, which will make sense when I get into my next idea. So here we go. Second idea. In Ocarina of Time, we are told that a Hylian mother gave him to the Kokiri, but this isn't as easy as it sounds. These lands are forbidden to outsiders. Anybody who tries to enter is headed for the fate of getting lost in the Lost Woods, which is certain death. But somehow Link's mother made it through. Sounds a little bit unlikely in my opinion. What this made me think is that it could be that Link was just told that his mother left him here for his safety during the war, when in reality, my second idea is that he was actually given to them by the gods, and they're not going to tell Link that, and that Link is actually birthed by the gods time and time again. Part of the cycle. I mean, this is in the sense that he doesn't have an actual mother. He's essentially formed in the heavens and placed into the world, and basically adopted into a family, like a baby left on the doorstep in a way. It's just thinking about it now, I don't see his mother making it through these woods successfully. Very likely. I mean, sure, it is possible, but the chances aren't high. I also don't think that my idea is that far-fetched. Link could very easily be birthed by the gods time and time again. That is how he continues to appear time and time again, in near identical fashion as well. Roughly the same look, always without any knowledge of a mother, but sometimes with a father or father figure. Could it be? Well, there is one game that raises a question. The Wind Waker, in which Link has a grandmother and sister. However, as mentioned earlier, this takes place in the timeline where no hero was present, resulting in the events of this game. So this is literally just some boy who took into the role of the hero that once was. All the others could very well be the works of the gods, and as for Skyward Sword's hero, he was likely the first creation of the gods, as we learn early on in that game that Link was the chosen hero. And guess what? In that game, there are no signs or mentions of a mother or father. Link is just living on Skyloft, and it happens to be the chosen hero. Could the hero of Hyrule actually be the work of the gods? I think it is possible. I'm open to the idea. To try and conclude what is arguably one of the most mysterious and almost unanswerable topics, the mystery of Link's family life throughout the series has been, and probably will continue to be, one of the biggest gaps of information in the series for the foreseeable future. With the next main release to come being the sequel to Breath of the Wild, the chances of family information in that game isn't too high. But perhaps beyond that game, maybe we will learn more about the hero's family life. I would very much love to see more on that. Whilst busting my idea, a game where Link's parents are both present by the time of the adventure starting would be really cool, maybe even playing some sort of role in the story. What do you think? Could my ideas be correct, or is there some other reason for Link's parental absences? Leave a comment below with how you would introduce Link's family in a future installment, and also your thoughts on my takes, and everything discussed today basically. I look forward to reading and replying to your comments. Thanks a ton for watching. I really hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, be sure to drop a like and consider subscribing for more fabulous Zelda content. As always, a huge special thank you goes out to all of my supporters across Patreon and YouTube. If you'd like to join them and get yourself a shout out upon joining and your name at the end of every video, then consider supporting. Again, thanks for watching, and until the next time, I've been Hyrule Gamer.